Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Nadia and this is the place where we get super real about sex. And today I'm going to be getting super real about foreplay, or more specifically, what is foreplay and what are some ideas that you can use starting today or tonight to spice up your own foreplay routine. Now, if that sounds good to you, then you should probably keep on watching. First things first, what exactly is foreplay? Now, it might seem common sense to some, but actually there is a lot of debate around what classifies as foreplay. And that's largely because it is such an incredibly unique act that it can differ quite dramatically from person to person. But it differs probably most significantly from men to women. Most men tend to prefer less foreplay and most women tend to prefer more foreplay. Now, of course, I'm generalizing here. There are plenty of exceptions to the rule, but just for the sake of today, I'm going to be speaking from a female perspective, given I am a female, on what are some of the things that count as foreplay to women. And you might be surprised to learn that foreplay to women is actually pretty much everything that happens in the 24-hour period before sex. See, most guys have been taught to believe that foreplay is what happens when you get into bed and start getting naked. But actually, arousal begins for women much, much sooner than that. And that's because the vagina and the brain are pretty intrinsically connected. So when you begin sending your partner sexy text messages through the day, or you give them a passionate kiss before they leave for work, in your female partner's mind, the foreplay has already begun. So now that we know what foreplay is, let's talk about some ideas that you can start using right now to get your partner into the mood for some time between the sheets. One of my favorite forms of foreplay, and unfortunately something that stops happening in most long-term relationships, is sexy text messaging. Now, while sexy text messaging is something that happens in most relationships in that dating phase when you're developing feelings for the other person and it's all exciting and sexual and passionate, what tends to happen is that once you get married or you've been together for a certain amount of years, you forget to do that, and your text message communication tends to become very mundane. In fact, I'm also guilty of just sending Kai, my boyfriend, text messages about picking up some milk at the store on his way home, or asking him if he should take out the trash when he leaves for work in the morning. Those sorts of boring things, which are not sexually arousing for most people. So what you need to do is go back to that initial courtship phase when you used to text about sexy things. Now, the reason this is so hard for a lot of people to do is because for some people, if your sex life has dried up, you might not have anything very sexy to text about at the moment. So what I recommend, and one of the best ways to get a woman in the mood for sex, is to send her sexy messages about the last time you guys had a really heated sexual experience. And it doesn't even matter if it's been literally years since you guys had really hot sex. Just talk about the hot sex you had years ago. So literally send her a message while she's at work or while she's doing the shopping, telling her about your memories of the last time you guys had a really passionate encounter. Really go into detail describing the way her body looked, the way her body felt, the way her lips felt, and how it felt to be inside her. The more detail that you go into in your description of that past passionate encounter, the more you're going to be engaging her brain as she starts remembering that experience the two of you had. And when she engages her erotic brain, she's also going to start engaging her vagina, which means that when she gets home, she's going to be a lot more ready to have some fun between the sheets. Dirty talk is a hugely underrated form of foreplay, and most of us get very overwhelmed by the idea of it. So many people tell me, I don't know how to talk dirty. I wouldn't even know where to begin. But you don't need to make it super complicated. In fact, the best way to have dirty talk is to use role play. So imagine that perhaps you are the teacher and your female partner is your student and she's being punished for being a very bad girl. Or imagine a scenario where you're a patient and she is the nurse treating you, and tell her that you have a very sore spot that needs a lot of tender care and looking after down below. The more that you can really get into character, the more you'll actually find it's a lot easier to talk dirty, because you're essentially going outside of yourself and putting on a character. And for most of us, when we play a role, it's easier for us to say things that perhaps in other situations wouldn't come very naturally to us. The other way you can come up with some ideas for dirty talk is just to read an erotic novel or watch a bit of softcore porn. Both of these are going to give you ideas for sexy things that you can say. I definitely recommend starting off fairly tame on the dirty talk. Don't just go straight into the deep end, or you might risk scaring her away. Start fairly tame, doing things like telling her she's a naughty girl, those sorts of things, and then you can go more in depth. Now, instead of rushing straight to penetration when you get naked, why not try some temperature play? Now, this is a great form of foreplay for really getting your female partner to truly engage with her body and more specifically her sexual energy. Temperature play can use either hot or cold elements. I like to use just a single cube of ice and to have my partner very slowly run that cube of ice over my entire body once I'm naked. So start at her lips, then run down over her chin, over her neck. Really take your time in between her breasts and down into her navel and beyond. In fact, you can even stimulate her clitoris with it. Just don't hold it on the clitoris too long, guys. Otherwise, you're going to dull her sensitivity down there, which you definitely don't want to do. Now, if you're feeling more daring, you can purchase specific body candles that are designed for using during sex. I absolutely do not recommend using a normal candle for this. You can end up with really serious injuries, and there's going to be nothing erotic or sexual about that. So if you want to do it in a safe and sexy way, go ahead and purchase a body safe one. I can recommend a great one in the description down below for you guys, and have a go just drizzling that all over her body. And what that's going to do is that's just going to intensify all of those erotic sensations for her and really just get her to live in the moment. And it's going to get you to live in the moment as well, and to just focus on how beautiful and sexy her body is. Now, before we go any further, I do want to give a big shout out to today's video sponsor, a brand I have so much love for, Beducated. Beducated is a sex tech company that are helping bring better sex to people all over the world. In fact, I believe at the moment they've been in over 110 countries, and I personally use them and highly recommend checking them out. Beducated's mission is to deliver fun, tasteful, intelligent sex ed directly into bedrooms across the globe. They provide beautifully presented online courses that look into topics like female orgasm, erotic partner massage, ejaculation control, yoni eggs, and so much more. It's their ultimate goal to connect lovers around the world and build a future where sex is no longer taboo. So if you'd like to learn more about Beducated.com and the amazing erotic classes they offer to help you take your sex game to the next level and deliver orgasms like you've never delivered before, then head on to Beducated.com and check out some of their amazing courses. I'm going to put the link in the description down below. Is there anything better than dancing? Women love being seduced by the art of dancing. It's a great, really sensual, intimate way to connect with your partner without actually getting naked or doing any kind of erotic touching at all. But it's going to really tease her and take her mind to very sensual places. Why not organize a date night in your own home? Light some candles, put on her favorite slow music, dim the lights, and have a sexy slow dance with her. You can eventually move that dance on to the bedroom where you can let things go to the next level. Dance is a great way to help a woman get really into her body, which is something that women aren't particularly good at doing, because as women we are quite often stuck in our heads worrying about those errands that still need doing and all the stress that we've got going on in our lives. So putting on that music, dimming the lighting, and dancing is a great way to lower her cortisol levels and just help her relax enough to be able to get turned on. I recommend keeping the music playing as you begin your lovemaking session. It's going to be really romantic and sensual and just keep her in that relaxed and erotic state of mind. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, you probably already know to do this, but if you're new here, it needs to be said. Kissing is one of the most incredibly sensual and arousing acts that you can do with a woman. There have been actual studies that have found that long, slow, deep, passionate kissing dramatically increases a woman's arousal levels. So even if you as a guy are not particularly into kissing, I highly recommend getting a little bit more into kissing and really taking time to just make out with your partner like you did when you were teenagers, before you started having sex, when kissing was still such an exciting, sexy, arousing thing to do. Kissing allows her imagination to wander to all the other parts of her body that your tongue could be exploring, and creating that build-up is really what foreplay is all about. So take at least 5 or so minutes to just sensually kiss her, hold her face, stroke back her hair, and just make her feel those excited feelings again that we all feel in the beginning stages of a relationship. Massage is an incredibly beautiful, sensual way to engage your partner's erotic energy. She's going to need to be naked for it, so she's already going to be in her body a lot more, and you're going to be touching her body. The most important thing about massage as a form of foreplay is the fact that massage has been very strongly linked with deep relaxation. And we know for a fact that one of the main things that stops women from getting fully aroused and able to even want to be open to having sex is stress and anxiety and not being able to relax. So giving a massage is already going to put her more into that state of mind. I recommend doing it with dim lighting, some beautiful soft music playing in the background. Use a really nice body oil. Go out and buy something really nice. I can recommend a couple of my favorites in the description down below, and really take your time to massage every inch of her body. And then eventually you can work your way down to her genital area, but I want you to leave that till last. Really just tease her by massaging her back, her butt, and her thighs all the way down to her ankles, and then back up again. And then what I want you to do, just very teasingly, is just very quickly just graze one hand over her vulva, and then just keep moving, massaging the rest of the body. That small, quick little graze of your hand over her vulva is going to make her start thinking about you doing more down there, and it's going to put her in that energy. Massage her for another 5 minutes, and then do the same thing. And then the third time you do it, you can put your hand there for a little longer. I am a huge huge fan of porn as a form of foreplay and also as a form of a communication tool that can really encourage you and your partner to have a discussion about what your fantasies and desires are. Often the problem is we don't even know what our fantasies or desires are because we've never given ourselves time to stop and really think about them. Porn allows us to do that because in porn, every fantasy and every desire that you can imagine has been explored. Now, what I recommend if you're doing this with a female partner, and particularly if it's the first time you're doing it, is to find some really softcore porn and to find some porn that is really female focused. Female focused porn is porn that is more focusing on not just the woman's experience, but there is a lot more of a build up to the act of sex rather than the film just being about penetration, as tends to happen in more traditional porn. This sort of viewing before you're having sex, it's a great form of foreplay. It's definitely going to help your partner get into the mood, but it also might ignite some discussion where she can start to talk to you and you can start to talk to her about what some of your fantasies are, and maybe even having a go at copying some of the things that you're watching together on screen. So what did you think of those foreplay tips? Hopefully you enjoyed them and you're going to go ahead and try them out tonight. If you did enjoy them, by the way, and you're not subscribed already, then really it's time to ask yourself what you're doing with your life, because this is the channel you need to be subscribed to. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, don't forget to go and hit that link down in the description and check out Beducated's amazing erotic courses. They're going to give you just so many more skills that you can take into the bedroom to be an amazing lover to your partner. All right, guys, happy foreplay and happy lovemaking. I will see you all in the next video. Mwah.